Hello and welcome again to the next installment of Maximum Performance Webinar Series. This program provided by Maximum Acceleration, the professional coaching company, was started about a year and a half ago. And the reason we started this series was to create a community of learning, folks that are committed to the growth of their business and are willing to invest their time and energy into receiving great training that's going to help you really take it to another level with your business development and processes and procedures. So we've got some great stuff coming to you today in the program. As we get started, I'm going to introduce you to our guest speaker here in just a minute. But I'll tell you what, guys, this is, I believe, our 90th episode in the series since we started this program, and it's become a great journey over the way. And we love the fact that this is an interactive program. We love the fact that we're able to hear comments and feedback, and some of the resources and responses we've been getting have been tremendous. Just one other quick reminder, we find that you do generally get the best audio experience if you go ahead and use the telephone option to access the webinar platform. Just simply select the button, hit the plus sign by the word audio, select the telephone option, and use the phone number and access code and PIN number that are in there to access the program. Keep in mind the phone number you see in the slide on the screen is not the best number to use. The number you want to use is the one that's actually in your control panel. Also, just a quick reminder, this is going to be an interactive program, so we encourage you to continue to ask questions throughout the program. We want to make sure that this is responsive to the guidance, to feedback and comments. We want to give you what you're looking for in this experience. So please communicate with us using the Q&A panel. And actually, if you want to, you can even undock that Q&A panel by hitting this little button with the arrow pointing out of the corner. That will open up that platform or that panel so that you can actually read and respond to the questions more effectively and kind of follow the conversations going on behind the scenes as our esteemed presenter is introducing us and walking us through the step-by-step process that he has to share with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for today is a Hall of Fame loan officer. Mr. David Kuiper is, over 20 years mortgage origination experience, well over $1.5 billion in actual loan volume funding, well over 6,000 loans that he's originated career-wise. One of the unique things about that, he's done it in a relatively small Midwestern market in Holland, Michigan. David has become over the years a great friend and colleague of mine. He and I have served together as faculty for Mortgage Success Source Vantage Production for several years, and I've gotten to become a great friend of mine as well. And I know David has some very unique and powerful ideas to share with you today about how to really help you fix the inventory problems that we're all experiencing in today's market. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, David, to take it and run with it. Okay?
All righty, you got it. Well, hi, everyone. Coming to you from Holland, Michigan, as Erik said, and we finally are out of winter. It's nearly mid-May, and we had a brutal one here on the lake, as did most of you. But today it's supposed to be 70 degrees. Holland, Michigan is famous for its tulip festival. It's a little Dutch community, and literally like 1 million people from all over the country come in busloads to see all the tulips and Dutch dancers and crazy things like eating junk food. And I haven't quite figured it out because I'm a transplant to the area, but that's going on this week, so we try not to drive anywhere. And the weather turned just in time, and all the tulips have started to bloom. So it's a beautiful thing. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the inventory problem, and it's probably something that you've been hearing repeatedly from your real estate community, in that there just aren't any houses out there to show sellers or to show buyers. And if they are, by the time we get to go to a viewing, it's under contract, or there's multiple offers. And we're used to hearing things like that out of some of the bigger, more competitive markets like California and such. But I'm hearing it from people around the country, and we are totally experiencing it here in Michigan. So what are we going to do about it? We can whine and complain that there's nothing out there. I probably have 50 to 60 pre-approved buyers right now out there looking, and they can't find anything. Or they're just too slow to the table, and it's a multiple offer situation, which we're not really used to in our market. And then compounding the issue is, if you want to sell a house, it's kind of like God, do I dare put my house on the market because it's going to sell in less than a week? And what if I can't find a new house to move to? So one of the things that we need to do is get out there and let people know, hey, we're here, we are willing to help, and we want to address this issue and help more people buy more homes. And one of the challenges that we face if we don't have any more homes that are being listed is maybe it's time to start building houses again. And over my career, I have done a lot of construction lending and working with builders, and I did that intentionally when I was kind of taking a look at my number of loan transactions that I was participating with and going, how do I get my average loan amount up? And there were a couple of different paths that I went down strategically, but one of them was to work with new construction, which both leads to higher loan amounts, but also typically with a little more sophisticated of a borrower who has owned a home before, and there's not quite as much hand-holding and a little more respect and ease of transaction. So I've enjoyed working with new construction and builders. And then 2007 and 2008 came along, and things really crushed, and things went really bad around the country, and I would say maybe even especially here in the Midwest. And so driving around today and starting to see lumber has been a really cool thing, and there's just been a pent-up demand for new construction, and the few builders that survived the crisis are poised and ready to take off. And so what I wanted to talk about today is what can we do to get out there in both the real estate community and the building community, put that together with our knowledge and ability in serving clients from the lending solution perspective. What are we going to do? So we've got to address the fact there is an inventory shortage. We've got to get out there and let people know we're aware, and here's what we want to do about it. And as a side benefit then, you likely will see your average loan size growing and have the emotional satisfaction of a job well done as we help more people solve their problems. So got a simple little formula here. Know what you can do, get to know some builders, get to know some realtors, and put them together. And let's talk about, wow, how do we do that? Because that was really pretty simplistic, and I'm a simple fellow, so I kind of like that. But in talking about what's available, this is going to need to be something that you may or may not have available to you. And if not, why not? How can you get it? Where can you get it? Who else could get it for you? Kind of thing. So as we talk about construction, I also want to include renovation as an option there, because we're starting to see more and more of that, both in the purchase market and in the refinance market. So talking about new construction, primarily what I do is the construction permanent one-note close. Lock your interest rate up front, get a 30-year fixed rate with a build window of 4 to 12 months on the front end, pay interest only on the balance advanced to the builder, and it converts to their mortgage when they're finished. And a lot of builders prefer that, where the homeowner is taking out the financing up front so that they don't have to carry the cost of financing or the risk of the homeowner wigging out and not following through and purchasing the house at completion. So plain vanilla conventional loan program. Not every lender is offering it. So depending if you're a banker or a broker or a correspondent lender, those kind of things may or may not be available to you. We are passionate about the new home industry and remain committed to the builders and are reaping the rewards from that now that construction is starting to take off a little bit. But not every lender has chosen to participate, and there are some lenders that are doing overlays where for Fannie or Freddie you can, go with 5% down and get PMI, and it's no big deal. It's just like pretty much any other conventional loan that we do. But we have seen other lenders with overlays that require a 20% down payment or a 25% down payment, and they're just really gun shy, haven't learned maybe how to hedge their extended locks and that kind of thing. So that's an option. Back in the olden days, 20-plus years ago, construction permanent loans didn't exist, and we did construction-only loans. And there are some lenders that do that, and then once in a while it still is the best solution for a client. Construction-only loan is just you take out a construction loan and cross your fingers that the homeowner is still the same credit profile when they get finished with the house as what they did when they got their construction loan, so that you can refinance them into their permanent mortgage. So Could be some interest rate risk associated with that. Could be some program changes. Could be unknown in employment or borrower credit profile in between time. And there can be some duplication of closing costs with the timeline of how long it takes to build and updating documentation and appraisals and closing fees and all that. So that's why I do tend to prefer the construction permanent loan when possible. Sometimes you'll run across a home buyer who might be a VA buyer or a USDA rural development buyer or something like that, and they want to buy new construction. And this is great, especially when working with a larger tract home builder, let's say, that funds the construction of their own houses and builds spec homes in their own developments and that sort of thing, where you get them approved and just know that the house is going to be complete at X date, may or may not involve an extended interest rate lock. But when the builder knows that there's a firm loan approval ready for their buyer when the house is finished, and that all we need to do is update title and have it appraised at completion, that they can go ahead and either finish the house that they may have begun already or dig a hole and start building for this buyer. Associated closely with new construction also would be land acquisition. Somebody wants to buy a lot or land to build their new home on. They may or may not have cash to pay for the lot. So it's important to know what kind of vacant land or lot financing is optional that you'll have access to. And we haven't seen much of this in our part of the world, but back in the day, there was builder spec financing where the builders would take out loans and fund the construction of a house and know that it would be sold when it was complete. And so that piece of certainty may be coming back, and we might start seeing a little bit of that. But there may be some lenders out there that are doing some financing to builders on a spec basis. A couple of renovation-related projects that I like to talk about. Conventional renovation. In a purchase situation, that might be, hey, I found this house, and it's what I want, where I want. It's just really ugly, and I don't like paneling and green shag carpeting and orange countertops, and I'd really like some new appliances and hardwood floors and maybe a deck on the back and a pole building. Whereby then the homeowner doesn't have to worry about, hey, I'm going to use all my cash to make a down payment. How the heck am I going to come up with money for the renovations? Where they can wrap it all into the financing based on the completion value after the work is done, kind of like a mini construction loan. Or it could be related to needs-based things. The roof's caved in and the windows were all shot out, and there's 6 inches of water standing in the basement and green fuzz growing on the walls and no furnace, or something like that. We call those opportunity homes. Or some combination of wants and needs to do that. There's the home path renovation that many lenders are participating with, again, allowing to fund and finance the repairs or improvements needed, as well as the FHA 203K loan, which can be a little more restrictive, but in terms of loan size and such, and the amount of repairs and improvements and timelines. So some of the things you'll want to just really study those programs and find out where you can have access to them or who's really good at them if you don't have the ability to get them done, so that we can do the right thing for the client. Sometimes the right thing is to refer a client to someone else, knowing that you're not going to get paid, but knowing that you did the right thing to get the client what they need, and to also help your real estate business development partners and builders out with good buyers. So know what you can do. Be a student. Study the ins and outs. There are lots of quirks associated with differences between construction and renovation and a traditional straightforward purchase. So, like I said, do some research. Find out what's out there. What is your company doing? Maybe there's something that you've got access to that you didn't know that you had access to, or maybe you've been scared to try it because you ain't never done one of these yet. Or find out what else is out there, but get familiar with the guidelines. Be a student of this industry and make yourself better because of it. And then promote it. So I've just got a couple of sample flyers, and they're really tiny, and if you're aging like my children tell me I am, you may not be able to read all that, but I think I could probably get copies of these over to Erik to post as a follow-up. But a couple of samples that I use, one of which is just promoting new construction financing, and one of which is promoting repairs and renovations. So make sure that people are aware of that. A lot of real estate agents don't know that a homeowner can tack on something they want to do to the new house, and they may be wary of buying something that needs a little fix-it-up or doesn't quite have all the amenities that they're looking to do. So make sure people know, once you know what you have access to, make sure that the other people that you're doing business know what you have access to and that you're the expert at doing it. So let's talk about getting to know some builders. I know a lot of builders and work with 6 or 8 of them very closely, both from a tract developer kind of builder to the high-end custom home builder and in between, and get to know what their specialties are and what their unique needs are. I'd totally recommend joining up with a local home builders association local chapter, and you can hit the NAHB website, and up near the top right-hand corner there's a find an association or locate nearest office or something like that, and you can click on your state and find out who's around there. But home builders, at least our local office here, has their members that are builders, the licensed builder group, and then their associates, like the plumbers and the HVAC and the electricians and the tradespeople that are tied very closely to the home builders, and then all the affiliates like financing and decorating and carpet and everything imaginable. But they like our involvement, and so serve on a committee. And I serve locally on our membership committee, just promoting the benefits of builders and their associates joining the Home Builders Association. So I like to say, if you want to attract someone to do business with, you got to go hang out where they hang out, and they hang out with fellow builders, and they like early morning breakfast if you're going to meet with them before they hit the job site. And that's just not me, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Another idea would be to teach some continuing education classes. I'm not saying you need to be a codes and specs expert or a HVAC or an electrician or anything to teach a builder, and you might be thinking, what could I teach a builder? But there are a lot of general business courses. A lot of builders are one-man, two-man shops, husband and wife teams and the like, and they need to know things about marketing and loan product and that kind of thing. So be the expert, and as you set yourself apart, differentiate yourself as being someone who knows what they're doing and well-respected in your community. That's a great place to get in front of people, because they do need to get their continuing education classes, and again, work with your local chapter and state to find out how to become an approved CE instructor and what kind of classes you can teach. Another idea would just be to host an open house, for example, and I'll show you a sample of one of those here in a second. Or you can go really special and make your builders feel special, the ones that you work with and the ones that you want to get to work with, by having some unique invite-only kind of event where you can spend some time with them. So one of the open houses that we did, we sponsored together with the Home Builders Association, the Michigan Mortgage Lenders Association, the Board of Realtors office, and said, hey, we're all in this together. Let's celebrate. We're starting to see some hints of new construction making a comeback, and so we had at one of our bank offices just a big open house party, and there was like beer there, and that was really cool. So we did this in a nearby town, Grand Rapids, Michigan, which has the title Beer Capital USA or something like that. A lot of craft brewers there. So they did a tasting competition and just hung out, and it was a really nice mix of, and each of us invited the people that we worked with. So there was a bunch of mortgage people there from all different companies and walks of life, and a bunch of different builders and a bunch of different realtors, all just hanging out together. And so this was a very casual, come as you are, when you want, where you want, leave when you want, mix and mingle kind of thing, where you could just catch up with your friends and peers and meet some new people and have a good time. No real sales agenda or anything like that going on. One special event that we did, many of you probably know Dr. Elliot Eisenberg, who is a economist and a very funny man who wears bow ties. And he's become a dear friend of mine over the last 4 or 5 years. I actually met him at a home builders conference at one time, and he's the former chief economist for the National Association of Home Builders. He's now on his own as a speaker and a writer. But he speaks every year for the local Home Builders Association annual construction summit 2-day kickoff kind of thing. And so I talked him into flying in a day early, and we just invited a core group of builders that we wanted to say thank you to, that we have a great relationship with, and that we wanted to treat to a special dinner, as well as some builders that we had casual relationships that we really wanted to get tighter with. And Elliot graciously agreed to be our special guest. And so he was there to kind of give a preview of what was coming at the summit the next couple of days, as well as some of his own personal insight to answer personal questions. And it was just a very nice dinner, not cheap, but well worth it. And we just had a great time of hanging out together as a bunch of friends, having a good meal, and hearing some words of wisdom. There were some people that were not going to be able to make it to the summit, so they were able to get some access to some of that information. It was a great way to get some builders that didn't know each other from different markets or different demographics of the homes that they built to get to know each other, and people expressed interest in wanting to follow up with each other so that they could kind of study some best practices and benchmarking and talk about how they may be able to assist maybe a developer is looking for another builder to build some homes in a new subdivision or something like that. And it was a great way for us to really be different. And that results in what we want, people respecting and loving us. And so this is a note from the executive director of the Home Builders Association that just said, hey, thanks for this awesome event, for inviting us, for the networking and generosity. You know, you guys are true professionals, and that's what we want. We want to stand out and be different and be known as the loan officers, the lenders that are committed to the new home building industry, and that we know what we're doing. So a couple of ways to find those builders that you want to invite or that you want to get to know. Talk with your clients. You may know people that have built a new home and find out what their experience was like and what they liked about the building process and such, as well as your other spheres of influence, friends, family, people that you just run into at the grocery store, or real estate agents that you know have sold new construction. Look for builders in the media. Watch for billboards, magazine articles. Start subscribing to newsletters and such, whether that be from Elliot, which you can do, or from the National Association of Home Builders, or once you join a local chapter, you'll get a lot of information, but just watch for them. Let them know you know what's going on. Subscribing to various industry publications, a lot of times we'll have new construction stats and the like. Some communities, ours is one, I don't know of others that do this, but publish a magazine that talks about all the building permits that are pulled and who pulled them in which counties and townships and all that, so you can see who's actually out there doing the building and get to know them. Again, kind of try to get where they're at. You can do www.local.google.com and type in residential builder, or maybe go to your state's licensing website and look up residential builders and get a list. And if you're into cold calling and that sort of thing, you can nail it out that way. You likely can have access to a membership roster of the local Home Builders Association, or for sure if you become involved, you'll have access to that. Find out who's in your area and what they're doing. Another thing that I like to do is I like to just drive around, and now that we're starting to see some lumber in fields again, which kind of looks out of place after so many years of not seeing any new homes going up. But just looking for who's out there. They're going to have signs at the entrances to their developments and hopefully at the individual home sites. And look for people that are actually out there building and have clients and are building new homes, and get to know them. So that's piece one, or piece two, I guess, where you've got to know what we can do, and then we've got to find out who's going to do the building of these new homes, and then we've got to get those homes sold. So getting to know realtors, pretty good thing. Both this how to get to know and attract business with realtors and with builders, those could be standalone hour seminars in and of themselves, and so I'm really just going to gloss over the surface of that, and hopefully you've attended some of the other sessions that shed some more insight on some of that. But talk to the realtors that you do business with now. Ask for introductions to their peers. Find out what their experience has been with selling new construction, with working with builders, whether it's been good, bad, or indifferent. Talk to your clients that have been referred to you by realtor partners, and just find out, what's the buzz out there? What are you seeing, hearing? doing about the inventory shortage. Certainly join your local real estate association and, again, hang where they hang, attend their meetings, serve on their committees and the like. Again, you can teach continuing ed classes and find out what it takes to get a course approved and what kind of courses they're looking for. Be the expert, have some FaceTime with them, watch the local media, again, and again, be a student, read. I'm a information junkie and subscribe probably to way too much stuff and get overloaded with it, but I just like to know what's going on in all aspects of real estate and then letting them know what the trends are and what you're seeing and the like. And then we need to put those builders and those realtors together. So the big question is why? Well, in my experience, and you may have seen and heard some of this too, builders and realtors don't always play in the sandbox so well together. They each have their own thing, and builders think new homes are way better than existing homes, and realtors find existing homes much easier to sell. And there can be a lot of disconnect and contention between the building community and the real estate community. So I think just kind of to give some background as to why that may be going on, there could just be a general lack of knowledge. How does a builder operate? How does a real estate practitioner operate? What are the expectations of a realtor's clients when they're looking for a home? Why would or wouldn't a real estate agent show new construction or sell a competitor? Maybe there's a builder that has an on-site realtor, and I think a lot of it just comes down to confusion, lack of knowledge. Sometimes there's resentment. You know, the realtor's giving advice to the homeowner that may be conflicting with what the builder is telling them would be best or can or can't be done. Sometimes there's resentment for dabbling in my business versus your business, or I didn't know they were working with a real estate agent, and we signed this contract, and I didn't think I was paying anybody a commission, and I didn't know you were involved. You didn't bring them to me, or they didn't mention that you referred them to me, and so there can be some confusion and poor communication going on. So talking about what does that look like, what differences exist between selling a new proposed home that does not exist and a home that already exists? How do you visualize what's going to be there? What the different timelines look like? How long is it going to take? And where's my client going to live until then? And there's a lot of other things that can make that a complex transaction. What are the differences in financing? Is it, you know, there's rumors out there that, you know, you can't get a construction loan anymore, or it's very difficult. You've got to jump through 37 hoops and crawl across glass to get a construction loan or something like that. So what does that all look like? So we thought it would be really good to put some builders and real estate agents together, along with some loan officers from different companies and some appraisers, and just talk about what's going on, just open dialogue. So we decided to host a new construction panel discussion that we held about a month ago, I think now, and picked a variety of builders, and those again ranged from the tract home production builder that just builds their house in their subdivision, kind of cookie cutter, entry level to midpoint, to custom home at high-end $1 million home, you know, build a couple of homes a year, builders to the mid-tier people that specialize in renovation and the like. So we selected 5 builders to try to represent different dynamics of the new construction industry. And then we looked for 5 real estate agents that had experience selling new construction. So they either worked exclusively for a large production builder, or they represented and had a relationship with somebody and listed all of that builder's product, or they just were fans of new construction. They built a new home themselves and knew the construction lending side of things and were just very comfortable selling new construction to their clients. And then we had loan officers, lenders from different banks attend, again, trying not to make it a sales presentation, but just showing some of the unique differences of different types of lending that went on, and some appraisers talking about what they're seeing and why sometimes cost doesn't equal value. And one of the big things that we face in our area is a lot of times custom home sales don't ever get reported in the MLS, so there's no comps that the appraisers have access to. So how do we address that and get builders when they sell a new build to be able to get that into the MLS and report it as a sold sale, so that the appraisers have access and knowledge about the fact of what's being spent on some new construction that's going on. So we've got again, very fine print, not as fine print as the next slide, but here's an invite that we could HTML email out to the people that we wanted to get to the event, and as well as hand delivered and mailed, and wanted to get as many people. So we did have about 100 people in attendance, and it was a very good dialogue of people acknowledging, yeah, there's an issue with inventory, and yeah, sometimes maybe we haven't been the best at playing together and communicating well, and just kind of clearing the air and opening things up for discussion and challenging people on process or on preconceived ideas, and just kind of pulling the curtain back and looking in a little bit. And people came away from that going, that was good. It was nice to hear from different people from different industries, from different companies, from all walks of life as to what it is and how do we then work together as teams of selling and building and financing, which would include the appraiser, to get people into their new dream home and make it as simple and pain-free as possible, which is always my goal. So I've also got a sample agenda there, and we'll follow up and get some of these in more legible format for you. But we just hosted a day at a country club and had a nice big meeting room and served some breakfasty kind of foods, and had the real estate agents, the builders, and then the lenders each present. And we had pre-scripted questions that a moderator or a facilitator kind of asked and would address, and different people would respond to. So here's a whole bunch of sample questions that you can't possibly read, but we'll get those out so that you can have those questions and see some of what different opinions are out there, and maybe differences of opinions and the like, to start stimulating some of that conversation with your real estate partners, with your builders that you're going to get to know or already know, as well as the appraisers. And as you're starting to do some research on what kind of construction product you can or should have available to you, what that would look like and what challenges you may face there. So obviously now when you're meeting these people, and I think I did a whole webinar last year on nurturing relationships with new people that you meet, would be to follow up with the people that attended either your open house event or that you had a private conversation with, or come to the panel and follow up with email and phone calls and handwritten notes and like you normally would, thanking them for their participation, or maybe letting them know what they missed if they didn't show up, so they can still get some of that information. Make sure you add them to your database and continue to stay in contact with them. Provide value-added materials, whether it be resources to stock their office with, or hosting an open house together, or maybe even hosting a first-time buyer seminar or a first-time new construction seminar or a move-up buyer construction seminar or something on site with a builder or in a neutral location. I think this is important both with the real estate community traditionally that we focus on, as well as the building community, and that's getting to know each other's teams. I think it's key. We always have, the builder gets all the face time and recognition, and the loan officer gets all the face time and recognition. Sometimes the behind-the-scenes people and the support staff don't know what's going on or don't know who the other people on other people's teams are. So I think it's key to do introductions and to visit each other's offices and model homes and tour subdivisions and have them into your offices to meet your team and such. Continue to be a student of the business, I think, is key, just knowing what's going on, both on the financing of new construction and renovation, as well as what's going on in their industries and what some of the trends are demographically, what trends are going on with the type of homes that are being built, what are people looking for today that they may not have been looking for. So some of the technology and products that exist today. I've built 2 homes in my life. The last one, the most recent one, was 15 years ago. The stuff that's available to put into a house today wasn't available when I built my house. It's pretty awesome. Except I really like where I live, so I'm going to stay for a while. And then a marketing tip. I'm all about buying brain cells and promoting me and attracting business that way. So make sure you've got signage out that could be having joint signage, RESPA compliant, at the entrance of a subdivision. Quite often there will be a big sign with a lot of involved parties being advertised on the signs. But I also do custom signs on each home site, and you will lose them to bulldozers and kids' paintball guns and that kind of thing, but it's well worth it as people are doing their Sunday afternoon drive through a new subdivision to see your name out there on a sign with the phone number going, oh, I better call Kuiper because he does new construction. Let me find out more about that. So that is about what I wanted to share today. So I want to wish you well, and you can certainly contact me directly if you have questions or want copies of things or want to talk more about new construction financing and some of the events and opportunities that I talked about today, or any of the follow-up materials, but I'll get those over to Erik to forward when the video becomes available and the like. And now,
Yeah, definitely. And guys, if you're interested in finding out more information about some of the unique things that David has done with the engagement of builders and creating some of these community teams, you know, the event that we put together and that he and his team orchestrated with that Builder Roundtable event, created a lot of synergy with the agents and has had a very, David, I know you're too humble to share, but I know. But the fact of the matter is, it had a significant impact on helping a number of the buyers actually find property and get started on going the route of new construction versus buying an existing home, because what they could find just isn't there. Many of our coaching clients are experiencing a similar situation where, you know, the buyer wants the home that's currently selling for $500,000, but they can really only afford the home that's selling for $300,000 or $350,000. Well, you know, if they can find a disadvantaged home or an opportunity home like what David was talking about and work with a remodeling contractor, that's another way of kind of bridging the gap there. And we're finding that a lot of builders are crossing over and doing multiple layers of things. You know, David, I know you mentioned when we first talked about this, the situation with the fact that you know, a lot of your guys that had been the big, you know, large subdivision builders have gotten out of that game completely and have gotten very, you know, hesitant and build aggressively in the market because of how badly they got burned on it with market collapses of the 2008-9 years. By the way, as we're gearing up, as you guys can probably tell, we're heading towards the Q&A section of the program at this point. So please go ahead and continue to post those Q&A questions into this Q&A panel as we're moving through some of these things. And then, David, if you wouldn't mind, I kind of have a first question that popped up that I saw that I'd like you to address is, you know, what are you doing with the builders that were those big mega builders who were very active, you know, pre-2008, who've kind of gotten out of the game of building these large spec neighborhoods? Are those guys available? Are you finding that, you know, that they're depending on you more significantly and more consistently for doing takeout financing that gives them, you know, more confidence in taking on that spec line? In other words, they're waiting to build until they have a committed contract. What do you see happen in that dynamic?
well, I think some of the humongous, you know, national production builders, though, with ours, and with that, I think some of the huge national builders, you know, that build tens of thousands of homes per year, they're not very approachable, and a lot of them have their own on-site financing. Not always the best for the homeowner, but there certainly, you know, are sales incentives and some steering going on there. But in the mid-tier, I've found that either builders aren't interested in entering into the financing, owning a mortgage company business, or they tried it and it just wasn't quite as cool as it seemed, and they realized they really need to, you know, do one thing and do it well, and that's build the house and leave the financing up to the financing experts. So I would definitely approach the majority of those builders.
So when it comes to the construction financing piece of things, in your market, you know, you mentioned you work with a wide variety of builders. What are the things that you're doing to engage the builder who is, I don't know, maybe your smaller mid-sized builder, the guy who doesn't necessarily want to stick his neck out there on a couple $1 million worth of spec homes all, you know, overnight, but yet is needing inventory? What are your suggestions to that builder? How do you approach that builder and turn that into a stream of business for you?
Two thoughts that come up. Number one is if the company that you work for doesn't provide builder stock financing, and that would be true of the company I work for, we don't provide builder stock financing. I'm finding that some of the smaller local community banks are interested in that business, the commercial side, and realizing that some bad things happened to some really good people during the meltdown, and that they are starting to dabble and for somebody it might be a couple $1,000,000 bucks, and others it might be a case-by-case with a pre-sold contract. Hey, we'll spec it to you if you've got it under contract and financing is in line. So finding out who it is and then being able to introduce your builder, establishing a relationship with the commercial loan officer that is doing real estate development lending, getting that relationship and then being able to confidently introduce the builders that need it to the people that are providing it would be good. In terms of developing the relationship with the builder, as well as potentially that commercial loan officer, that's going to take some time and trust building, because we all know every commitment letter or approval letter isn't the same, and some people have been burned by vaguely written or poorly thought commitment letters versus, hey, if Kuiper writes an approval letter, I know this deal's closing. And that can, with a new person that you've not worked with before, is going to take some time to build that trust. And again, testimonials would be huge from other builders in that case, which we didn't touch on at all, but I'm a huge fan of gathering testimonials. And if people aren't voluntarily just like sending you love notes, maybe you go out there and request a testimonial from someone that you know, love, and trust, and you know they know, love, and trust you. To be able to further promote yourself and establish some rapport and some confidence with somebody that you're looking to do business with.
Okay, cool. All right, well, one other question that keeps coming through the Q&A panel in different forms or fashions here is what do you do to differentiate yourself? If you are going to go after that bigger, more corporate builder that has an in-house financing relationship already, or if they have some sort of joint venture, what, if anything, can you do, or what have been your approaches to creating that differentiation and encouraging them to do business with you versus with the competition?
Well, full disclosure, I don't have any builders with in-house financing in my market. So the production builders that are in my market are financially sound and have their humongous lines, millions of dollars of lines of credit, and are building essentially on spec. Behind the scenes, there may be some covenants in their loan agreements that they may only have X amount out at a time, or certain concentration of a certain price range in a certain area, or some kind of restriction on financing. But I don't run into, hey, my loan's better than your loan or anything. I don't see that in my marketplace. And I don't know that I would go after that niche if it were. So that was a way to avoid your question completely.
Right. Well,
I think it would pay well to communicate if you do have builder in-house mortgage company in your market, of training your real estate agents to really do their sales job and letting their home buyer that they're selling new construction to know, dude, your only option is to go to Kuiper. You're not going to this place, and the why behind it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, part of it is the value that lives beyond that one transaction, which we is a common theme in this webinar series. Is how do we move beyond just being the vendor that gets their deals done and be the asset and resource that helps them get more deals. And so, two things. One is if you're not in a position to go head-to-head with somebody who's got an in-house mortgage company, there's a couple options we've coached clients on over the years. One is if we are working with a buyer who is being offered just what seem like amazingly strong incentives to go with an in-house company, fine, we'll do it as a two-stage program. We'll coach the buyer on taking out the highest possible interest rate, which gives the most rebate to cover those upfront closing costs and any concessions extra they can throw into the construction package. Then once the home is complete and funded, then we're processing and planning a refinance of that construction, that short-term loan, to put them back into a loan program that's going to be a better fit for that family. I mean, it's why not? If the builder's going to throw money at you for using their in-house lender, why not take full advantage of it and let their ETO policy have to deal with the circumstances of a loan that pays off in 60 days kind of thing. which is maybe a little bit underhanded, but you know, how many times will they do that before they back off and stop offering these ridiculous inducements that are just beyond reason in some of these type of joint venture situations? The other element is sell what you have to sell. I mean, you know, the reality is there are a number of home builders out there that are not the mega corporations that would be great resources for your buyers that are struggling to find inventory. And keep in mind that maybe that buyer was referred to you by a real estate agent in the beginning, and if that buyer is really just not able to find the type of home that they're looking for in the price range that they need it to be for their financial situation, being able to introduce a buyer in conjunction with your realtor to a builder who has an existing neighborhood or a developer, and you know, the realtor could find them a lot and help them find a builder that would help them build the kind of home that they want, and then coordinating with construction lending. And the other element of that is, guys, if you don't have access to construction lending personally, then what a great referral source. I mean, when I was an originator, I was in a market similar to David's. We didn't have a tremendous amount of competition from mega builders, but we did have a situation where I didn't really have a viable construction loan program as an originator at the time. So one of the things that I did is I started looking around at a couple of local banks that were active in the construction market, and I did the same kind of thing David mentioned about just driving around neighborhoods and looking at what signs are in the yard. And I started to reach out to and network with some of these construction loan officers at a couple of these different local banks, and ended up developing some very good referral relationships with these construction lenders. And it originally started with, if I had a customer who really wanted to go to new construction, I would refer it to this gentleman, Brian, at the local bank. He would do the construction loan. He would agree, you know, we had a gentleman's agreement that he would not solicit the end loan or take out financing. And we worked very well together, did several deals like that. Eventually, he ended up offering to where he would share some of the origination revenue on the construction loan with me, because I was doing a fully processed approval up front anyway. So I would just hand him a complete basic underwriting package. He'd take it to his loan committee and get a loan funded. And that worked beautifully, and we probably did 30 or 40 homes in 2003 based on that program. So those are some strategies and solutions that you can use. Again, it's how do you move beyond that layer? And David, I know you've got to jump off here to get on to that next call. Tell Tori if you wouldn't mind that I'll be a few minutes late wrapping this up. But I know you got to jump. Guys, the thing it comes down to is how do we become the asset and resource to our clients that is more valuable to them than the ability to get one deal done? Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, how do we create the kind of synergy that creates results that live beyond one transaction? And one of the best ways that I know how to do it is by being an accountability resource and a masterminding partner with these business professionals that we have availability and ability to make an impact on. You know, think about it from this perspective. You know, what all these guys, top performers in any field, have in common? Your Michael Jordans, your Wayne Gretzky's, your Tom Brady's of the world. Well, the answer is they all had somebody they could collaborate with. They all had somebody to hold them accountable, somebody who cared as much about their own success as they did, that could give them a couple of really vital things that would help them improve their performance. And so what it really comes down to is if you want to be an asset resource to business development professionals or realtors, financial planners, CPAs, insurance agents, home builders, any of these categories of people that you work with or have the opportunity to work in concert with to make a bigger difference in the lives of homeowners in your community and help people build wealth through you know, better management of what for most families will become their biggest asset, why not collaborate with them and become a resource and accountability partner, an asset that's going to help them do substantially more business in the coming weeks, months, and years. And, you know, some of the key elements of becoming that accountability partner, that assets or resources, one, you've got knowledge and information they don't have immediately at their disposal. Secondly, is you're not tied up in the day-to-day busyness of what they do, and nor are they. So their ability to give you and your ability to give them sort of that outside perspective, just like David and I do for each other in our coaching conversations, you know, working in his business as an originator and working in his business as a coach, as he's, you know, grooming himself to become a maximum acceleration coach here over the next couple of months. You know, it's just that just one step removed, outside perspective. It's so easy to see the things for other people that we can't see for ourselves, kind of thing. It's also somebody who's there to help be that accountability partner that keeps you focused on steady progress, little by little over time, improving and evolving and growing week by week, month by month, year by year. And of course, it's that running buddy effect, that accountability partner, that it's so easy to break promises we make to ourselves. It's so much harder to break promises we make to somebody else. I mean, in 1993, Brigham Young University did a research study on what it took to take ideas all the way through to action. And you guys can read the study, you know, and the stats that are on your screen. But at the end of the day, it's the you know, what it came down to is there were three fundamental things that this study identified. One is you have to have a specific goal. Two, you have to have a plan to achieve that goal. Three, you have to have a timeline for achieving that goal. And fourth, you create an accountability partner. So if you do those four things, if you create an action plan to accomplish that goal, you share that action plan and timeline with somebody else, and you ask them to hold you accountable to it, you have a 95% or better chance of completing and following through on that action item. So whether it's working with your realtors to understand how they could leverage home builders in the community to meet the needs of a greater percentage of the clients who are stuck between that rock and a hard place of you know, wanting the $500,000 home but really only being able to afford the $300,000 home, or just, you know, offer after offer, you know, having their offers rejected because they're not in a perfect qualifying position, or they need some help with, you know, a high LTV FHA, VA, or USDA loan. Maybe a home builder is a viable option for them. Maybe it's an opportunity to work in concert with your realtor to identify a builder who can get that customer into that new home, and that would be a better fit for them. All of this comes down to very similar parallels to what we do every day with our coaching work with our one-on-one clients. And so, you know, many of you have been asking in this and future previous webinars, what is the Maximum Acceleration Program? How does it work? What does it all involve? Well, our goal is helping you get from where you are to where you want to be as fast as humanly possible. So I'm going to spend just a couple minutes here at the tail of the program letting you know how we do that, and you make the decision whether it's a right fit for you or not. It's not for everybody. You know, we only have a handful of seats open at this time, and so it really is for the people who are serious about taking their business to the next level, investing in themselves, and making a difference in the growth curve and the time it takes them to achieve that growth curve so that they're reaching higher levels of performance. Well, the process starts with an extensive assessment process. We identify all the areas for growth in your business. From there, we develop a specific strategic growth plan. We map out using that first initial planning session in combination with the information gathered from the assessments that we put our clients through. Then we move into personal coaching. That is a bi-weekly program. You get 12 60-minute one-on-one coaching calls with your personal coach, as well as access to group mastermind calls periodically with peers, and access to some of our performance productivity time tracker, performance tracker, and workflow refinement system. And what happens as a result of that, your coach drives to you step-by-step follow-up and action plans on completing the important elements of what you need to change or evolve that's going to help you reach a much higher level of performance in a much shorter period of time. So there's a couple of things I want to introduce you to. If you want to look at what it looks like to make the investment, I'll share that with you in just a second, but here's what it's meant to some of our clients. You know, at the end of the day, this quote is from Adam Kernan, one of our clients in South Carolina, who said, you know, thanks for your coaching. I once thought I didn't have time for coaching, but boy, was I wrong. I didn't have time not to be coached. Because of your help, I just wrapped up the best week of my career, 13 new loans in a single week. That was done through a combination of prioritization and focus. We obviously helped Adam build a system that supported that kind of volume so that he has time to focus on doing business development consistently and effectively. We also help him supplement his activity based on his goals and making strategic adjustments to what he's doing when he's doing it to be able to get, I mean, more often than not, coaching is about getting the stuff out of your way that's low or no payoff so you have more time to focus on the high payoff activities, especially as we move into the busy buying season and the potential chaos and anxiety of that season. It's more important than ever that you get the outside perspective and feedback that's going to help you make the strategic adjustments so we can stop just running the treadmill, being busy, and start focusing, are we being productive? Here's another quote. You know, after 13 years in the business, he got into coaching. This is from Randall Brower in northern Mississippi, the Memphis, Tennessee area. Got into coaching program to get my life back, even if I did end up doing less volume because of time away for sales. But guess what? First 4 months of last year brought in 156,000 gross. In the first 4 months, this year more than doubled that again with 247,000 in the first quarter, 1 month earlier. So do I think coaching is worth it? Absolutely. Think about the potential return on investment of a coaching subscription. In fact, in all honesty, that's one of our primary goals, is getting you from where you are to where the coaching investment is yielding you a significantly positive return on investment. I mean, literally, you can get started for as little as $14.95 for the first month and $900 a month thereafter. Typical coaching program is $59.95 for 6 months of coaching. We've got a couple of different opportunities available to you to do that, but basically it works out to $1,000 a month average, okay? Investing $1,000 a month, how many additional loans would you have to do to generate an extra $2,500 to $3,000 in revenue? I mean, our number one goal when starting new coaching clients is clearing out the clutter and getting them focused on volume and activities that produce significant results so that you're getting a $2,500 to $3,000 a month increase in income. Therefore, your coaching investment is yielding you a 2.5 times return on investment. And by the way, our track record is, our goal is to hit that within 90 days. Our track record is we hit that a little better than 90% of the time historically. So it almost becomes a bit of a question of, can you afford not to invest in the guidance, support, and accountability that's going to help you create significant results in your business. Now, by the way, there's a bonus offer available for those of you who are interested in participating in the program. If you really are serious about taking your business to the next level and you're ready to get started, the first 3 of you that go ahead and make the commitment to move forward are going to get access to an additional 3 bonus sessions. But in addition to that, there's some other things that come along with the coaching program in addition to the one-on-one time that you have with your personal coach. And so there's a whole list of things here. I don't want to go into them in great deep depth or value, but we have an extensive library of training materials, tools, and resources that have been developed and refined over our experience and our work with with the over 4,000 clients that have been through our program since we launched in 2005. That includes Greg Frost's Maximum Influence series, How to Win Every Sale Every Time. That includes our Double Your Income with Power Partners, which is a step-by-step turnkey system for how to engage and commit a high volume of referrals from realtors, financial planners, CPAs, et cetera, in a very short period of time. And also included with that platform is a monthly subscription to the Vantage Production tools and resources of provided that are the Loan Toolbox, the Platinum Marketing, the Mortgage Market Guide Weekly, and the Mortgage Market Guide services that are bundled along with the coaching platform in addition. Total value is over $12,000 every 6 months for an investment as little as $52.95 to get started. So those of you who are serious about taking your business to the next level, there's one other just short-term offer. If you are interested in taking advantage of this for as low as $14.95 to get started, the first 3 of you that go ahead and register through our site and get your account set up will get 3 additional bonus sessions with your one-on-one coach to be used in your first 60 days of the program. So literally, for less than half of one typical loan officer's commission, you can get started with that program. For those of you who are not quite at the level where you're ready to make that kind of a commitment, if you'd like access to our Double Your Income training program, it was a 6-part web shop series that we do a couple of times a year. We actually now have recorded and packaged that into a kind of a do-it-yourself home study course version that walks you through the training step by step of how to develop skills and abilities to approach and commit business development partners like realtors, financial planners, CPAs, insurance agents, et cetera, so that you're developing a high volume of rapid flow of leads from these partners, getting a high degree of commitment and loyalty to where you're working really truly as a team with these individuals to create a much bigger volume and make a much bigger difference in the community around you. If you guys are interested in taking advantage of that video program, that is available for as little as $297. That is a turnkey system, and literally within a matter of seconds of going ahead and registering on our website and taking advantage of the program, You'll receive the link to the video, the resource folder where you can download all the video and additional tools, attachments, scripts, letter templates, et cetera, that are going to allow you to be able to go ahead and implement that system. You can access that by going to our website, mxlcoach.com. Go to the shopping tab and then click here to open up the shopping cart. Once you're in the shopping cart, you go to the DVD digital box sets section, and right there's more information about the Double Your Income program. And like I said, you can get access to that immediately for as little as $297 and get the tools, materials, and resources you need to be able to take your business to the next level. Apologize, my fingers slipped on the mouse key. Let me snag back to where we were right before I finished off here. Kind of love how this platform works sometimes. That and having fat fingers is always never a good deal. Anyway, okay, all right, so where we are. If you want to take advantage of the Double Your Income Web Shop series, just go to the website and go ahead and take advantage of that. The next piece of this is if you'd like to be able to, if you're not sure which of these programs, maybe it's the one-on-one, maybe it's the group coaching program, or maybe it's one of these home study courses, if you're not really sure what's a right fit for you, one of the best ways to get some access to it, one of the best ways we've found to help people understand the true value of the coaching program is to actually experience it. And so to do that, we offer what we call our strategy session, which is a no-cost, no-obligation, one-on-one consultation with one of our Maximum Acceleration coaches to talk a little bit about what some of the challenges are in your business, what are the solutions to those challenges. You'll walk away with a specific action plan for one of your bigger issues or obstacles and a little bit more information about when and if it makes sense for you to move forward with coaching. If you'd like one of these strategy sessions, one of the best ways to take advantage of them is to go ahead and post the best phone number and email address into the Q&A platform right now so that we are able to get you scheduled for that appointment. Again, these are one-on-one sessions with a live coach. They are real-time sessions. So because of that, based on our existing coaching load and staff levels, we only have a handful of these available each week, and so to make sure that we do schedule them on a first-come, first-served basis, if you'd like to take advantage of one of these strategy sessions, feel free to go ahead and post that in the Q&A platform right now. Give us the best phone number and email address to contact you to get one of those strategy sessions scheduled. From there, we can also take a look at going ahead and getting scheduled. First, if you think about it for a little bit and then you decide, yeah, I probably do want to talk to a coach one-on-one and get more information and feedback, you can go to our website, mxlcoach.com/strategy, and there's a web form there that you can give us information to let us know that you're looking for one of those strategy sessions. All right. The last thing I want you to do, those of you who are on the call with me still yet, one of the things is I want to congratulate and applaud all of you for taking the time and initiative to invest in yourselves today and to focus on the skills and ability to grow your ability. And so the long story of this is I want you to take a minute, and just before you answer that next phone call or return that next email or jump into that next appointment, take 30 seconds to do something that will lead you down the path of implementing some of the ideas and information you've been given today. You've already invested an hour of your time at this point, but I mean, it'd be kind of like running 25.5 miles of a marathon, right? You've already done all the hard work, now just finish the race kind of thing. Because the reality is ideas without action are useless. If we don't do something with those ideas, they have no way of possibly benefiting us in the growth of our businesses. So one thing I do want you to do is go ahead and take a moment to follow this quick little putting in and play action step, okay? First of all, decide what was the one most valuable thing you heard in today's program. What is the one idea you want to implement first? You guys will receive a copy of the recording from this in about 24 to 48 hours as soon as our team can finish some of the post-production work, get it posted on YouTube and forward it out to you along with some of the other resources David mentioned. We'll get that out to you usually by the end of the day on Thursday. We'll have that out. So you only need to select one idea here. What was the one idea you want to move forward on first? Secondly is what action do you need to take to make that a part of your daily business? What is the next step? Maybe it's reviewing the recording and thinking about who to approach. Maybe it's creating a list of the home builders that you want to go out and meet with and talk to about their ability to alleviate some of the inventory challenges your buyers are experiencing. Maybe it's reaching out to and talking to some of your existing business development partners, or reaching out to some newer real estate agents and talking to them about how maybe potentially tag teaming with some of these home builders in your area would help alleviate some of the inventory challenges in your market. And creating a roundtable type discussion or a masterminding event to be able to get that going. So what is that next step, right? Third is, by when are you going to have that action implemented? Set a specific target, just like the Brigham Young study. If you want a 95% or better chance of following through on your ideas, you need an action plan, you need a deadline, and you need an accountability partner to hold you to that deadline. So decide when you're going to complete this action, and decide who is going to be your accountability partner. Like I said, if you are looking for some help or support in that respect, if you're looking for somebody who could be that accountability partner that's going to be able to hold you to your promises, please don't hesitate to ask. That's what we're here to do. That's our entire purpose and mission, is helping you get from where you are to where you want to be as fast as humanly possible. That's the entire reason our company exists, is to help provide valuable, pertinent, timely information that's going to help you create maximum acceleration in your business growth. So like I said, if you want to take advantage of one of those no-cost, no-obligation strategy sessions, go ahead and post the best phone number and email address for us to reach you for scheduling into the webinar Q&A platform, or hop on the nxlcoach.com/strategy website at this point, and we will get you set up for that program. Otherwise, I got to jump off because I got to get on one of those Vantage Production faculty calls. I'm going to leave this platform open for a few more minutes. Any additional questions, comments, concerns? We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future topic ideas. We'd love to hear your guidance or any suggestions for additional things that we could do to improve your experience on programs like this, or anything else that we could do for you, one-on-one, group, or live training events or purposes that you'd like to take advantage of. Otherwise, guys, we wish you all the greatest of success. I want to applaud you all for taking and investing your time and energy in viewing today's program and joining us in this forum. And I look forward to seeing you on a future program in the not-too-distant future. Look forward to having a great, make it a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.